3, 4. So, when you're improvising on a song like All the Things You Are, and the first 5 chords are just scale tone 7th chords, you can really just stick to the major scale of the key that you're in. So the first 5 chords of All the Things You are scale tone 7th chords. We're in the key of A flat, and the first chord is the 6th chord, which of course is a minor, the 2 chord, which is also a minor, the 5 chord, always a dominant, the first chord, always a major, 4th chord, always, if they're scale tone 7th chords, it's always a major 7th there. So F minor is the 6th, B flat is the 2. So you can stick with the A flat major scale through all those chords. Now the biggest weakness of doing it this way is that when you get to the 5 chord and you're still on the A flat major scale, there's so many other good scale choices to use on the 5 chord. You need the flat 9 in there, so you need a scale that kind of supply a little bit more tension, like the diminished scale or the altered scale, or even Lydian dominant scale. But I'm going to stick with the major scale. I'm kind of just running up and down the scales. And when I stick to the A-flat major scale while playing those scale tone 7th chords, I'm basically running through all the modes. So the A section, which is the first 8 measures of the song, is just uses those 5 scale tone 7th chords and then makes a quick jump to the key of C major. And it does that by going to the 5 chord in C, which is a G7, and the C major. And once again, because that's a dominant chord, I'm going to play C major scale, but I'd rather use a more exotic scale choice. All right? And then we get to the next 8 bars of the song, and that's another A section, and it's exactly like the first A section, but it's in a different key. The C major changes to C minor, and then now we're going to be doing scale tone 7th chords in the key of E flat. And I'm going to stick to the E flat major scale as I start on the 6th chord, which is C minor. There's the dominant chord, but I'm still using E flat major scale. And then it makes a sudden shift to the key of G by way of the 5 chord. Okay. Then we get to the B section of the song, the middle, another 8-bar section, and it's just 2 5-1s. It's a 2-5-1 in G. So you can use G major scale. Of course, the 5 chord is a dominant chord. So if you have a more exotic scale to use there, that would be great, like diminished. And then we have a 2-5-1 in E. So once again, we'll use the E major scale. Okay, so I was, once again, if I had a more exotic scale to use on the dominant chord, that would make it better. Oops, sorry. And then we have this is probably the most interesting part of the song harmonically, where it switches from an E major, it kind of goes this way to a C 7th, and if you made E an augmented chord and then put the C in the bass, it's a unusual modulation. And I guess the way to handle that, there's lots of cool ways to do it, but for now, we're in E. We're just going to switch to a C 7th, and we're going to F minor. So I'm just going to use the A flat major scale. It's going to work just fine. And then I'm going to stay on that A flat major scale because we're now at the last 12 bars of the song. It's an A section that's a little bit longer. It's very similar to the first A section because it starts on F minor, goes through those 5 scale tone 7th chords. Okay, so you can use A flat major scale on all of that. And then goes to D flat minor. Okay, we're on D flat major, switch to D flat minor. Okay, now we're in the key of A flat. Our 4 chord is usually a major chord, but right now it's turned to a minor chord. So it's not a scale tone 7th chord, so I have to know a scale to use here. And I'm going to use Dorian mode. Right, that's a scale with a flatted 3rd and a flat 7th, and it comes from the root scale that is B major. It's the notes of the B major scale. Okay, and then it goes down to C minor. Now that is a scale tone 7th chord in A flat, so I'm going to use A flat major scale there. And the next chord is a diminished chord, and of course the best scale is going to be the diminished scale. But there's a few other choices too. You could kind of just stay on the A flat major scale if you wanted to, or the blues scale. But if you know the diminished scale for that chord, B diminished, it's a whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. That's a good choice. Then you're back to the 2 chord, and it's a scale tone 7th chord again. So A flat major scale is going to work there, there, and there. And then there's a 2-5-1 to get back to the top of the song. All right, you can use A flat major there too. Let's run through maybe the next step here, and that is to, every time we have a dominant chord, we're going to use a more exotic scale choice, a more colorful scale choice. All right, so we're starting at the top of the song again, F minor. Okay, so I used diminished with a real chromatic connection. Then I'm going to stick with A flat major again. That's still a scale tone 7th chord there, D flat. And here it goes to G dominant 7th, so I'm going to do something better than just C major scale. I'm going to play a rootless voicing maybe. And that was kind of diminished scale there. You could use altered. Okay, now I'm going to use that same technique to get through the next section.